Your baby cannot tell you when your words and your face give them different messages. They cannot explain why a tiny moment made them reach harder for you, but they are learning what to expect from you before they understand a single sentence. This is not about neglect or one exhausted sentence at bedtime. It is about 7 ordinary phrases loving parents say while trying to survive the day. Stay with me, because number 4 changes what a reassuring voice means when your face looks worried. And number 7 is the repair that teaches your baby a relationship comes back after a hard moment. Those 2 moments shape what safety feels like from the inside. This is not about guilt. It is about understanding so you know what to do tonight. Number 1, saying, "You're fine," when your baby is frightened. You are at the grocery store. Your baby hears a cart crash and their whole body jerks against your chest. You smile quickly and say, "You're fine," because you want the noise to disappear for both of you. Your words are kind, but your hands are rushing and your eyes are scanning the aisle. But here is what is actually happening. Your baby is reading your emotional signal before they understand your reassurance. In a classic study by Anthony DeCasper and William Pfeiffer, newborns younger than 3 days changed their sucking to hear their own mother's recorded voice instead of another woman's voice. Your baby arrived ready to recognize the sound that has surrounded them. That is why your tone reaches them before the meaning of your sentence does. Your baby is listening for a steady signal, not a perfect performance. When your reassurance arrives in a tight voice, the sound carries the strain your words are trying to cover. One rushed reaction does not undo your connection. The pattern matters because your baby needs a message that matches itself. What to say instead, that was loud, and you are safe with me. Next comes a phrase that sounds firm, but turns a request for comfort into a contest. Number 2, saying, "Stop crying," instead of naming the need. It is late, the pasta is boiling over, and your baby has started crying again from the playmat. You hear yourself say, "Stop crying. I am right here with more heat than you meant. You are not cruel. You are overloaded." Here is the surprising part. A cry is not a debate your baby is trying to win. It is their most direct signal that their body needs help settling. Edward Tronic's still-face research showed what happens when a familiar adult suddenly stops responding normally. Across 37 studies reviewed by J. Mesman and colleagues, infants showed less positive emotion in gaze and more negative emotion during the unresponsive still-face episode. Your baby does not need perfect words while they cry. They need your voice to show that their signal reached someone. A sharp sentence on a hard evening does not define you. Returning to them teaches more than pretending you never felt stretched. What to say instead, "I hear you, and I am coming close." That return matters even more when the interruption is not crying but a small bit you barely notice. Number 3, saying, "Not now," and never coming back to the moment. Your baby squeals from the floor, looks at you, then drops the spoon again. You are answering an email with one hand and you say, "Not now, sweetheart," without looking up. The room stays quiet except for the spoon. And here's what gets really interesting. That look and sound were not random noise. They were a tiny invitation to share attention. The Harvard Center on the Developing Child describes this exchange as serve and return and sets up 5 simple steps: notice, return, name it, take turns, and end and repeat. Those back and forth exchanges help build brain architecture because your response connects your baby's action with another mind. Your baby learns that reaching out changes the social world. You do not need to drop every task when they call for you. You do need to close the loop after your task ends. What to say instead: "I am finishing this. Then I will look at your spoon with you." And once you return, the next phrase decides whether your baby sees your face as a map or a mask. We are 3 in, and you may be recognizing yourself in these scenes. Most parents do, because exhaustion gives every family moments that do not look like their best selves. These are not things bad parents do. And number 4 is the one I mentioned at the start. Number 4, saying, "You're okay," while your face says danger. Your baby stumbles into the coffee table, looks up, and pauses before deciding whether to cry. You are scared by the sound, so you gasp, then quickly say, "You are okay." Your baby watches every inch of your face. Here's what is actually happening. Before words have meaning, your expression tells your baby how big the moment is. In the Mummy, Fernald and Herrera experiment, the 12-month-old infants changed their approach behavior after seeing adult emotional signals about an uncertain situation. Fearful signals pulled their behavior in a different direction from happy signals. Your baby is not judging you for being startled. They are borrowing your nervous system while theirs is still under construction. That is why a slow exhale helps before reassurance. One gasp is human. What matters is letting your face and your voice meet again. What to say instead? I got scared for a second, and I am checking you now. The next phrase is harder to spot because it arrives wearing a smile. Number 5. Saying, "Good job," when you mean, "I am with you." Your baby bangs 2 blocks together, turns toward you, and waits for your reaction. You grin and say, "Good job," because you truly are delighted. Then, your phone buzzes and the shared moment disappears. But here is what is actually happening. At this age, your baby is seeking your attention as much as your approval. Researcher Richard Brooks and Andrew Meltzoff found that by 10 to 12 months, infants followed head turns with open eyes more than head turns with closed eyes. Your baby's attention is already tracking whether another person is genuinely engaged. They are learning that your eyes point to what matters. Praise is not harmful, but connection becomes clearer when you describe the moment you are sharing. You do not need a perfect response or a developmental speech. Give them one real look before you move on. What to say instead? "You made those blocks clap, and you wanted me to see." That shared attention leads to a phrase every tired parent uses, especially when there is no time left. Number 6. Saying, "Wait," without telling your baby what happens next. You are trying to zip your coat, find the keys, and stop the dog from stealing a sock. Your baby lifts both arms, and you say, "Wait, wait, wait." They have no clock, no plan, and no clue whether you heard them. Here is the surprising part. Predictability is part of responsiveness. Mark Bornstein and colleagues microcoded caregiver responses, with babies averaging 5.4 months old, measuring how tightly adult behavior followed infant behavior. Their work treated contingent response as a distinct feature of early interaction, not as background warmth. For your baby, a small preview turns waiting from disappearance into a sequence. They hear that you have a next step and that they still exist inside it. You will not always return as fast as they want. You do not have to. Give the wait an ending whenever circumstances allow. What to say instead? "I hear you, and I will pick you up after I zip this coat." And that promise brings us to the final thing, because trust is not built by never missing a moment. Number 7. Saying nothing after a hard moment. You snapped because the crying would not stop. Then you put your baby down safely and stood still for a breath. A minute later, you come back, but embarrassment makes you quiet. You tell yourself they are too young to notice. Here is what is actually happening. Your baby notices the shift, and they also notice the return. In work described by Ed Tronick and Annette Janino, mother-infant mismatches were repaired in the next interactive step 70% of the time. The point was never constant harmony. The point was that a relationship moves out of sync and finds its way back. That is the trust your baby needs to experience. You do not need a long apology they cannot understand. You need a gentler face, a softer voice, and a real return. One hard moment does not write your baby's whole story. Repair gives the next moment a new ending. What to say instead? "I was loud, and I am here with you now." That is not a perfect parent promise. It is a relationship promise. If you feel seen or a little tender about the moments you recognize, that is not proof you failed. It is attunement, the part of you that notices your baby's inner world. Pediatrician and psychoanalyst D.W. Winnicott called this the good enough parent, not the flawless parent. Disconnection does not shape your baby by itself. Repair is what teaches them that love returns. Tonight, when your baby looks up from the crib or reaches for your shirt, let your face soften before your words arrive. Let them find you there, warm and ordinary, even after a long day. If this gave you a new way of seeing, share it with another mother who needs to hear it. I will see you in the next one.